Wah! What do we want? A new Wario game, of course. Easy. For the Switch. Wario is one of Nintendo's hidden gems of the series. These games are really good, and since we're all in favor of expansion on Switch, I think it's long overdue that we see a Wario title make its way onto our beloved Nintendo Switches. Over the years, Wario has seen several releases, with the Wario Land series being the most numerous, and what was to be followed with WarioWare, a series of short minigames that seem juvenile and simple at first, but when you play them you realize how awesome they actually are, and Wario World, which is the only 3D platformer to Wario's credit. Now, rather than solely pinpointing one of these games and giving it the highlight, I'll provide you with each of these and speak on how I think each would play on the Switch, and then we'll get into a new idea. Sound like fun? Let's do it. First off, on a side note, I never really noticed just how many platformers Nintendo actually has until we started making videos about them. It's crazy. But anyway, speaking of the platformers, the first to start off is Wario Land. The series that saw its initial debut on March 13th, 1994, with Wario Land Super Mario Land 3, continuing the story after Mario's own game. The title was a huge success, selling well over 5 million sales, spawning several sequels, and allowing Wario to step out into his own and drop the Super Mario subtitle, which is a good thing too. Have you seen some of the comics Nintendo released about Wario's backstory? Look, you will not look at Mario the same way, at least through Wario's account. But to the point, for those of you who may never have played a Wario Land game in your life, first off, 4 is the best, but basically, think your traditional 2D platformer and then immediately unthink that, because there are so many different game mechanics, especially in 4, that breaks down the traditional standards. Every single Wario Land game is good. There is not one bad one, period. That kind of consistent quality deserves to be placed on the Switch. Plus, if I was to be completely honest, this series as a whole is underrated as hell, but have no fear. Nintendo just trademarked Wario Land last month, making it the second trademark of the series in the last year. And with WarioWare making its way onto the 3DS, maybe Wario Land for the Switch isn't that far off? Hopefully that gives you guys some hope. Speaking of WarioWare, let's get into my thoughts on this series moving on to the Switch. As I said, yes, I know WarioWare is getting its own placement on the 3DS, and that's cool, that's all well and good, but I feel like this title should be one that gets to bleed over onto the Switch. Nintendo is so quick to spoil the 3DS and give it its own iteration of bigger titles. Smash! And while, yes, WarioWare has had a history on handheld, so has it too on the main console. And for something like Switch, which is both, I don't think that should be overlooked. And those are my quick thoughts on that. Anywho, moving things over to Wario World. This was Nintendo's first go at making Wario 3D. And while it's a good game, I feel if we were to see this again, it would have to feel fleshed out and polished, perhaps giving Wario different gameplay variations, the likes of which we've seen in the Wario Land series, and do something about the bland environments and generic bad guys. By no means is this game horrible, but out of the 3 Wario series I mentioned here, this one needs the most work, and honestly, I feel apprehensive about it, and I'd much rather see Nintendo go the Wario Land route out of the 3 series I mentioned here. But on to the new idea I spoke about earlier on in this video. You know, I always liked how Wario was and is a treasure hunter, and I felt like that gives way to an interesting story element and narrative beats, as opposed to, say, a Mario who wants to save Peach because Peach is special to him for some reason. Wario wants all the world's finest. For what reason does he want all the world's riches? I don't know, but that could be a very good point for the Switch game, laying out the reason behind Wario's taste of opulence and why he wants the finer things in life. Maybe a backstory, not 2D because remember, it's Nintendo, but just giving more human feel to the character of Wario, and maybe incorporate some WarioWare pals. We've seen so many different characters come from the WarioWare games, and I think them accompanying Wario for some reason on this great adventure would be an interesting thing to see. Have it be the culmination of all these years of WarioWare and Wario Land coming together as one. You know, the one good thing that Wario has going for him, aside from the gameplay elements of the games, are these stories. Take, for example, Wario Land 3, which finds Wario flying over a forest and crash landing onto it. Next thing you know, there's a whole bunch of music box fiascos and this whole crazy adventure, plot twists, and the narrative and the story, and it's really interesting to see. Or Wario Land 4, which has Wario actively searching out for treasure in a pyramid in order to obtain a life of riches. Maybe this game could serve as a prequel to showcase Wario before his deep-rooted ideals took hold and show why treasure is important to him in the first place. Whatever the narrative beyond this point is cool with me. I just want there to be a reason behind the madness. As far as the gameplay, I want this gameplay to be fluid with tight controlling and worlds that complement varied gameplay in order to spice things up again. I want Wario to be able to transform again like he is able to in the other games. Maybe we could see a switch mechanic where instead of Wario being able to get to this part, one of his friends from WarioWare like Kat and Anna, the two ninjas, can do it, or if it's somebody else, or it can be Waluigi for whatever reason because he needs to be relevant outside of just sport games and party games. Maybe if these games do well with Waluigi being incorporated into Wario's world, who knows? Maybe we can see Wario and Waluigi games like we got Mario and Luigi. What I don't want to see is more just Wario being used as just a brawler. Yes, Wario has mechanics where he uses his shoulder, he punches things, you can jump on things, but I want to see the platforming that Wario Land has brought to the table before. If they could somehow pull this off in a 3D game like Wario World, and obviously do it way better, I would like to see that. I'd be interested in it, but I'd be scared about how it would turn out. I'm not sure. I think Wario Land on a Switch would just be a better game. I think the Wario Land games in the past were very short. You could literally get through these games in about an hour, maybe 2 hours, something like that. I think this game should be a lot longer if we do see a Wario Land type of game. I don't want a short Kirby like 5-6 hour game for Wario. I think that would be the best route to go. Not a 3D game, not an open world game, not at all, none of that. I think what we could see 3D character models, 3D backgrounds, but on a 2D field side to side. That would be cool. Make the game long, make the game fun with different mechanics, have him transform, use his motorcycle for Pete's sakes. Another issue I found with Wario so far is that none of the enemies are memorable. Sounds silly, but think about the reason why it was so cool to be able to capture a Goomba in Odyssey, or a Bullet Bill, or a Koopa. It's because you know what these things are, and in some strange way, it brings identity and life into these sort of games. This is a point that needs to be touched upon in any of the Wario games, especially if we were to see one for the Switch. Give Wario a more repeating opposition, a force that comes back, and different enemies that you're like, oh, I know what this is, I know what that is, I know these are always in Wario games. That would be cool to see. Like I said, it sounds so small, but these subtle detail add to a world's experience. It's why everybody knows a Goomba, you just stomp, you jump on them. Everybody knows that. It adds personality into, you know, the Goombas are just a part of the Mario games as Mario himself, you could argue. It's pretty much the reason why seeing Boo in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was such a big deal. It's Boo, you know, that's the most famous ghost in Mario, period. So that subtle thing, I made you think there, didn't I? Admit it, I made you think. The point is, Nintendo has a lot of series that need to be shown some love, especially when it comes to a character like Wario. He's had success with Wario Land multiple times. He has spin-offs with WarioWare and games that are also just as fun. Bringing this onto the Switch, a console that's doing so well, will shed light on not only the game that's to follow in these footsteps of Wario Land and WarioWare, but would also highlight the games of the past and make Wario a more prominent and noteworthy face for the Nintendo roster. He's already a regular on Smash, so, you know, seeing him have his own sale and his own win and his own characters, his own crew, his own reason for being a character, all these things add together to culminate into a game that I feel like would be worthy of a character of this track record. Honestly, Wario has a better track record than Luigi. I'm just saying, Luigi doesn't have that many games to his name. Wario has more, and they are more successful and more prominent. I'm just saying. So, Wario for the Switch, what do you guys think about Wario getting his own game? Do you think this could be a success for the Switch? Would you like to see a Wario Land type of game? A Wario World type of game? Or would you like to see a WarioWare game come to the Switch? And if so, What would you guys' ideas be for that? Let me know in the comments below. Or do you want a new, entirely different experience in general? Maybe, like I said, a Waluigi and Wario game, or a Wario RPG, something completely off the rails. Let me know what you guys think about that. As always, be sure to check in every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday are the podcast. Tuesday and Thursday, you got videos like this from myself and AJ. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. We appreciate it, and we're going to keep on trucking for you. And I will see you guys again on Saturday. Take care.